Hello mates and welcome to the Baron Reviews with me, the Baron. Today's game is Cuphead, a run and gun action game by developers Studio MDHR Entertainment Inc. Cuphead only recently came to my attention, so for a game I hadn't heard anything of, I was surprised when I saw how much buzz was floating around it. To avoid spoilers, I bought the game blind without reading too much or watching any gameplay, so I could see it for myself firsthand. The first thing that struck me right away was the art design. The person who was in charge of art direction should absolutely get an award for how good the attention to detail is at recreating the retro cartoon look and feel for this game. From the character models to their animations and sounds, it's literally the most fully realised art direction I've ever seen in a game. Even the slightly scratchy screen overlay with the mixture of super saturated and faded colours is genius. Touted as a run and gun game, I feel that couldn't be any more accurate to describe the gameplay. Levels play like side-scrolling shooters, and it absolutely gave me a Super Nintendo vibe in games like Mega Man and Contra. And like those games, there's shit on screen happening everywhere at all times, with bullets flying, bombs exploding, enemies popping out of other enemies. Needless to say, the game is brutally difficult, and to make things even more difficult, the player has very few lives in each level, and there's no checkpoints, so if you die, it's back to the start. A simple mode is offered for players who find the difficulty too much, but what's too bad about the simple mode is that it limits the player's experience in boss battles by cutting the battles short, so they'll only end up seeing half the boss battle. That said, this is probably the fairest way the devs could have dealt with the difficulty question, because a player who just wants to cruise through the game can do so on simple mode, but the player who defeats the game on the harder difficulty gets the reward of seeing all the extra cool boss stuff. The gameplay and controls are silky smooth, though I did encounter a few unusual glitches in my time playing. One of the most endearing things about the game is the wonderful inclusion of a local two-player co-op, just like the good old SNES days. This game was begging for a local co-op and it works fantastically. I found I enjoyed the game infinitely more whilst playing with a mate, I think because the difficulty is significantly reduced to a more manageable level, but also dying constantly felt less like a relentless struggle and more like a hilarious challenge. Furthermore, two-player allows for an opportunity for a last chance revive if your friend is killed, which makes tons of sense to me in terms of the game's balancing. So for that reason, it kind of blows my mind that Cuphead doesn't have an online multiplayer option to play with a stranger online or even a friend on another computer. I really hope this is something that gets added in the future. In the meantime, there is a workaround if you have an Nvidia card, which you can check out in one of my other related videos. $20 felt expensive for this game when I first saw it because it looked so simple. But there's really so much fun to be had that now $20 value actually seems like a great price to me. This is one of those games that if you're of a certain age like me and have fond memories as a kid, playing your Super Nintendo and getting wrecked over and over again until you somehow beat that game, then I think Cuphead's going to really appeal to you. It's like a game you loved from your childhood wrapped in a fresh coat of paint. So that's it from me, the Baron. If you're interested in this game, you can find it in the link below, and I give this one a hearty recommendation. And don't forget, if you like this review, please remember to like and subscribe. Until next time, cheers.